few days, so apologies if you hear me coughing or sniffling or
No,
just sounding gross.
no problem, bro. I've actually been sick since like last Friday.
Mhm.
So not this past Friday, but I've been sick for like a week and a half, and it sucks.
Yeah, I
So we're
normally don't.
live, I think.
Cool.
Awesome. I don't know yet. Give me a second. I pressed start broadcast. Yep, we're live.
All right. Hello, everyone.
How's everyone doing tonight? Trash fires in the house. What's up, guys? My freaking phone. All right. So I have a lot of questions for you.
Oh, you do.
Yes, I do. Everything's Magic the Gathering related. I have maybe like one or two questions about your channel itself.
Mhm. Sorry, I'm
Um,
adjusting my microphone, so you might hear some noise.
no problem.
Okay.
What's up, Snow Monkey? How you doing, bro? Cinder
Oh
Shadows
yeah.
in the house.
Let me pull up the stream so I can actually see the chat too,
All
so I
right,
can see if
cool.
anyone's talking shit on me.
Yeah, somebody said they're gonna talk shit on you. So
Oh yeah, coach.
yeah. All right, so um, let's get right into it with my first question.
Mhm.
So, what is it like to move away from Magic the Gathering content? How does it feel? Is it like a relief, or is it more of a hassle to you lately?
Well, so I didn't necessarily abandon Magic the Gathering content in general. I just abandoned it making it on my channel. Like I'll still make like the little vlogs or whatever, just talking about random shit. And that's kind of the purpose of the vlog, just like talking about anything interesting in Magic the Gathering news and kind of like my opinion on it, or
Right.
like anything else I want to talk about. But the main kind of Magic the Gathering content that I like making the most is deck decks. I really like making those, but I didn't want to keep making them and posting them on my channel because I feel like it would have limited me creatively. And when new people come to my channel and they see, like, I want to make other stuff beyond just Magic the Gathering content, and if they go to this channel and they see these other videos and then they just see these random deck decks, it's not very cohesive. So I was sitting there thinking for the longest time, like, do I want to make a second channel? Do I want to just abandon Magic Gathering content in general? And I finally decided that I was talking with Rogue Deck Builder about it.
Right.
And he said that he wanted more content on his channel on a more regular basis. And then I just kind of threw the idea out there and I was like, hey, I don't like making deck decks for my channel. How about I make them for yours? And that's kind of where I'm at now. Like in the long run, I don't see myself making Magic the Gathering content on my channel in like a year from now. But I do see myself still making Magic the Gathering content for Rogue Deck Builder. Kind of like
Yeah, I've seen your recent popper deck. Was it black red? Was it? It was like in. It was like 2 weeks ago. I think you poked one
yeah,
on us. Yeah, I
yeah, it was
seen that.
Black Red Madness. And then
Yeah.
I got this other deck coming up. I got some of the games recorded. That's what I'm going to be doing as well. I'm kind of pulling a Saffron Olive with him with his channel. I feel like he kind of needs it though. He like he just I'm not like talking crap or anything. I'm just saying like
Right.
I feel like having some fresh blood in his channel, having something new will help kind of keep things from stagnating. And that's what I'm trying with my deck techs. I'm like experimenting a little bit. I'm doing some gameplay. I just streamed some games the night before last, and I may stream some more games tonight. I'm not too sure, but the goal is to kind of like do like a Saffron Olive thing, where you kind of show off the deck, and then well, yeah, you show off the deck, and then you show off the games further. But Kevin is also planning on selling the decks as well that I showcase in my Popper deck deck. So it's kind of like a nice little. It's nice. This is the first time I've ever actually kind of made anything off of YouTube. I've been on YouTube for about a year and a half, 2 years now, and Kevin hooking me up with stuff, pretty much paying me for this work. It's really
Yeah, that's
nice.
awesome. That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
serious. That's like it was so awesome of him to actually do that, and it's probably really good for his channel too. Like you said, spreading out, having more content, more people working on it. Um, yeah, I think it's cool. As I also want to talk to you about the gameplay because I've heard you say a couple things about gameplay. We're going to talk a little bit about MTG Arena as well, in terms of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Popper. What else are we going to talk about? Let's see. We're going to talk about, yeah, we have a couple things. So yeah, that's good though that I think you're moving away from Magic the Gathering content because
Sorry, I'm laughing. I just now noticed Desolator's in the chat. Hey,
oh,
Desolator, how's
seriously?
it going? But I'm sorry, you were continuing with your question. Sorry to interrupt.
um, so oh my god, yeah, that's hilarious. Oh crap. Yeah, Trashfire has actually a question for you. I saw it. He said, "Do you want to fight Desolator?"
No. Why would I fight him? Like, so I don't know if he's still watching, but I made those videos on him. God, the last video I made on him was December of 2016, and it's been quite a while. But I don't know. They were just little shit posty videos, just kind of criticizing him. And then I don't know. I kind of like antagonizing him.
I
I
was
kind of
just
like
messing with that question. I didn't actually I didn't actually mean anything by it.
I like poking the bear, as it were. Kind of like Desolator, since I know you're still watching. Getting you to block me was kind of the goal with that tweet there. So thank you for helping me out. But nah, I don't have a problem with him. If we met in real life, I I would hang out with him. I don't know how he'd feel about me. I would be down to play some Commander and bullshit with him. At the end of the day, we're just fucking content creators, just yelling into the infinite internet void about fucking pieces of cardboard paper. So it's like, what does it really matter in the
Yeah.
end?
It's just a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. The fact that how everybody is so negative lately. And I think that a lot of the negativity comes from multiple sources, mainly WotC, but it's also it comes from inside. People in general are just have a negative attitude. And I was curious if you think that people complain too much. Like,
well, I think complaining is just that's human nature. Complaining is at the very base of it. Complaining stems from criticism, and people only complain when they want something to be better. Normally, people won't complain because they want something to be worse. And with
right.
Magic the Gathering, I feel like people do that much more because people really like Magic the Gathering because it's one of the best games ever created, period. And when you see things just like over the course of 5 to 6 years, just everything's just slowly degrading. Everyone's just going to be more critical and they're going to be more loud about it. And you're going to have a lot more smaller startup YouTube channels just calling out the bullshit all the time. But yeah, I think complaining in general extends just beyond Magic, but it's very prevalent in Magic.
I do feel like because everybody's so used to complaining about the actual problems, because there are serious problems in Magic, that sometimes we complain about things that aren't as bad as they seem. Like I don't know, I'm not going to start giving off examples because everybody has their complaints still, and I have my own opinions on things that are actually positive. For example, personally, I don't mind the J Spellbook. I think it's actually decent. That's just my opinion. But I still think that because of the negativity and all the negative attitudes, I think that if things were going a lot better, that people wouldn't receive things as bad as they are now. I don't think people would be complaining as much.
Yeah, and I think it's also an amalgamation of things, right? Like the less things you have to complain about, the less angry or the less passionate you are when you complain about them. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, or not a long time, but recently it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. Like, because I posted a memory from Facebook on my personal Facebook page. I made what was it? I said, Magic the Gathering of people who will never be satisfied with anything ever. And it made me think, it was like, has it always been like that ever since the beginning of Magic? And I don't think it really has. I think I don't know if it's a Magic thing, to be honest. I think it actually may be a cultural thing. And I've been thinking about this, especially with stuff like technology and just how fast and quick and convenient things can be.
Right.
And I don't know, it just gets to the point where people find reasons to complain about things, like not to talk shit, because I do like talking shit, especially about unsleeved media lately. But
Yeah, I've actually noticed that. Something I want to talk to you about. I was just curious,
I
but
just
I was
it
too
kind of
involved in that though.
it kind of leads into that, because I just feel like he's unnecessarily being a rabble rouser. Like, there's reasons to get mad at things. There's valid things to get angry about and criticize Wizards of the Coast for. However, him and Tara Sofia tried making like edgy jokes on Twitter about like, oh, there's black people in Dominaria, and they tried like being
Oh
edgy
yeah,
and
on the
cool
Black
by
Panther.
bringing in Black Panther, and just
I saw that.
like, are we really digging that far to the bottom of the barrel just to
Yeah,
make content and jokes?
Teferi was already in Dominaria. It's like, why? What are you making fun of? Like,
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. I saw that, and I mean, listen, I think that everybody tries to get attention no matter where they. I mean, either way, if you're a Magic the Gathering content creator, you're gonna want attention.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, are you getting positive attention or negative attention? If you're getting negative attention, then chances are you're not going to get you're going to get negative feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So it really all depends on, you know, what kind of content creator you are. But I think that content creating,
Jeremy
it's not easy. It's not easy to do content
he
creating.
hasn't always been like that, though. He's only really been like this since he, God, I want to say like maybe a few months before he started his quartering channel. Now, it's been no secret that him and Talarian and Wedge have had some troubles in the past for quite some time. But like, if you look at Jeremy's older content, he was almost a pack opening or sealed product opening channel exclusively.
Right.
And now, especially with his quartering channel, I mean, like, okay, in terms of a business model, it makes sense because he's doing very successfully in terms of being able to grow a second channel from 0 to like what, 40,000 subscribers.
Yeah, he grew it really fast.
Yeah,
really, even I think in like 5-6 months he grew to 40,000 or something like that, which is pretty impressive.
Right. So I mean, obviously you're going to be doing something right if you get like those kinds of results. But how long is it going to be until you keep ringing this, or you keep bringing up the same talking points and you keep having the same attitude about things over and over again, to the point where it's kind of like Leafy almost. Desolator called me Leafy earlier in the comments.
Gets views, so that's a good point.
Drama
does get you views. I think that
it does get you views, but
right on that. There's no question.
Yeah, drama gets you attention, but it's very fleeting. It's very temporary. Ask any Magic the Gathering player, like any average Magic the Gathering player that doesn't even go on YouTube that often. Ask them who they know, or ask them if they know about the situation between Christine Sprankle and Jeremy and people getting lifetime bans. I think, well, no, because
not everybody, but like probably 70% of people that go to FNM.
Well, that's the thing, is I live up here in Portland, and there's like 8 or 9 different LGSs in the greater area, and I go there, and I've been asking people intentionally. I'm like, hey, do you know who Unsleeved Media is? Hey, have you heard about a player getting banned for lifetime? Hey, do you know why Travis Wu was banned for a year?
Desolator said he'd fight you, by the way. He just said.
Nobody knows. It's like maybe 1 out of every like 12 to 13 people know what I'm talking about. And this is something that I've been trying to bring up multiple times, especially in my videos, is that all of this drama, especially pertaining towards Unsleeved Media, is exclusively an internet problem.
Really? Yeah. I feel like the LGSs that I go to, for some reason, everybody knows about it. So I could be right. Wrong. I mean, it all depends on like the location, I guess. And
it depends on like who's in the store, and like usually people that go to LGSs are friends with each other, and you know, that kind of thing travels. But I guess I've just been lucky out here, and nobody out here knows what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny. Like,
that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, like Unsleeved Media, like there are some things where it is pretty serious that Jeremy is getting a lifetime ban for this kind of thing. That is bullshit. It's been bullshit since day one, and that's something that people should know about. However,
I definitely agree on that.
are we gonna keep bringing it up 5, 6 months later, 3, 4 years later? Are we just gonna still be salty about it, or are we gonna like move on?
It's
And
life.
yeah, like Travis Wu, he got banned for a year. What's he doing? He's
He's
chilling
in
out on a
Hawaii.
farm. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fucking living his life, and he seems to be doing really well, and I'm
He
really
is
glad
doing
for
well.
him.
Yeah. I watched a recent video of him, and he's doing pretty well. And he's not even making that many videos on Magic, and he's still getting some views and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to have drama in your videos to be able to get views.
Yeah, but they do get views.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm just
now,
saying, like he when he first got banned, I think he came out with like 5 or 6 videos or something like along those lines on it, and I was getting worried that he was gonna have like a breakdown or whatever,
mhm.
and then he started shifting away. He like completely stopped for a while, and then started making just regular normal content. And I think that's it might be smart for On-Sleep Media to try and do that, just because he he does attract attention and new people, and it's probably not very welcoming to the new players when they hear about all this drama and stuff like that.
Right? Like, it's really disheartening to see other bigger Magic the Gathering, or not Magic the Gathering, just YouTube channels in general, like Mundane Matt and Sargon and a bunch of other people talk about Magic the Gathering, but the only way that they talk about Magic the Gathering is the drama that's involved. And it's like, man, I don't want
Yeah.
my game to be represented by that. I don't want my game to be represented by Queen Thought and her excursions with fucking King Neckbeard. Like, no.
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's true. I think that I think that hopefully we just have to hope that things in general get better in Magic in WotC, and I think that things will change also in the community if that happens. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
It's
we're
really
just gonna
sad.
have to find out over time. Like,
Yeah.
I have a lot of criticisms about Wizards of the
Fucking
Coast and their CEO Chris Cox in general, and I feel like he's running the company into the ground, especially with their constant flip flopping. That's the thing that really pisses me off the most about Wizards of the Coast is their constant changes in policies all the fucking time. Like, I'm trying to remember for a good example. I can't right now just because I'm so wrapped up in other thoughts. But F&M promos. That's
Right.
When did they change the policy on F&M promos to tokens? That was like what, last October, last November, something like
I
that.
think it was in August. I think it was all the way back in August, actually.
Yeah, and then they didn't stick with it. They should have stuck with it, even though everyone hated that idea.
I don't know if I agree with that. I listen. Yes, they could have stuck with it, but I think that it was a bad idea to begin with. And yeah, it does kind of show to your players that it's like, oh, we're kind of just like, we're gonna fuck up and then just pretend like the fuck up never happened. I don't know.
Well, I mean, would you
I think
really
it was a
trust-
mistake in a general. I think it was a mistake though. I don't think that it was a good idea in the first place.
Would you trust a company though that would consistently change on their policies on like a
Exactly. That's
6 month basis? Like, the biggest offender of them all was the rotation. The rotation effectively killed Standard because they designed Ixalan, Kaladesh, Amonkhet, all that shit to go along with the new rotation.
right.
And then they reverted back to the original. So you ran into these problems where you have to ban cards like Attune with Ether and Etherworks Marvel because you didn't expect the format to become so warped and degenerate because you weren't expecting to change your mind on the rotation. And that's like where my main problem is with Wizards of the Coast. Like, whenever I see shit like that happen and I see the little things like this with the F&M promos, in the long term, why would I ever trust this company again with anything that they ever have to say ever? Because they're going to change their mind about it 6 months from now.
Yeah. I think that's I mean it is what it is at this point. It kind of is like whatever. I don't think that they made so many mistakes that at this point, even if they were to just keep the tokens, I don't know how much that would change. I just don't think that it would actually help them at all if they didn't do that. I see that right now they have to do as much change as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens to go back on some of the things that they are used to doing, then so be it. But change needs to happen because whatever is what it is right now is not good. Somebody brought up a great question. So MTG Arena, I'm curious on, did you try it out yet?
So I have a beta key and I'm tempted to try it.
My mic keeps falling. Sorry.
It's all good. The only reason why I haven't started playing is because of the economy. I'm used as a Magic player to be able to buy my singles and buy my decks. And to be told that I need to be able to grind in order to have the privilege of building bad decks in the first place just doesn't interest me at all. If I want to do that, I'll go play Hearthstone or I'll go play Eternal.
Right.
When I play Magic the Gathering, I want to play Magic the Gathering. This is why it's called MTG Arena, because it's not Magic the Gathering. It's a free-to-play Magic the Gathering. Now, if they were to give you the option of buying your own singles and building your own decks, then, yeah, I would impulse play it, like, for sure, because it's a beautiful-looking game. Or not beautiful-looking game. When you compare it to Magic the Gathering online, it's a beautiful game.
It is compared to that.
But yeah, I don't know. Like they wouldn't need to change a few things. Like I don't care about legacy or modern support.
Have you played
Commander?
Hearthstone? Huh? Have you played Hearthstone?
I've played it here and there. I played Eternal much more than I played Hearthstone, and I think that's the way better game. But then again, Eternal is essentially a Magic the Gathering clone.
Oh, really? I've never heard of Eternal actually.
Yeah, it's really it's pretty decent. You can play it on your phone and on Steam. I don't know if you can play it on PS4 or Xbox One. I think you might be able to, but it's essentially Arena, but it came out 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about MTG Arena. I think that everything about it could be amazing if they just changed that, like you said, that simple one thing about, you know, the way that they have the trading of the cards and the dusting and everything like that. And it's kind of like this lottery system where you just have to get these wild cards.
I do like that idea. I do like the wild card idea. That's an innovation for MTG Arena that I do like. And I hope that it's implemented better because I think there's definite room for improvement. But I really like the wild card idea as a replacement for buying singles. But it still requires you to grind, which kind of sucks.
Here's the thing, though. So I was thinking of like another solution. I was trying to think of my own solution of what would be a good idea. And so with Hearthstone, you can get duplicates except for like legendaries. Like legendaries is basically like above mythic. They have like 5 different rarities, but it's basically like mythic. I was thinking that they could have done the same exact thing with this, and they could cancel out the they could add in dust and cancel out that whole. Though I think the reason why they have the wild cards is so that you have to collect and collect and collect until you get a full collection, and then once your collection is full, then you're able to save wild cards for like the next set, for example. But they want you to buy tons of packs and grind and whatever so that you can fill up your collection. Now, if you're if they were smart enough to go ahead and realize that people are not just going to want to go ahead and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on just buying packs just to fill up their collection, it would be much smarter for the people that don't have tons of money, because that's really the only way for you to actually get the cards that you need is to just buy packs. Yes, you could grind, but that's not even reasonable. The hours are like, people have a life outside of Magic. You can't just grind for 3 months just to get the actual deck that you want and then watch it rotate, you know?
Right. And then they'll use that whole free-to-play, well, you can just buy booster packs as an excuse. And it's like, dude, I already have a hard enough time paying $4 for bent cards. Now you're trying to tell me to pay $4 for invisible cards?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
And Desolator brought up earlier about like anti-net decking, and I don't know like if that's maybe an issue with why they didn't make singles readily available, but from that like net decking perspective, that's a good point, like I don't want necessarily to be able to buy into net decks just because I'm not interested in buying $300 to $400 decks in the first place. But at the same time, I don't want to have to grind and grind and grind just to build a jank deck and then find out that jank deck is bad. And
Right.
then that just makes me feel really bad because then I've just wasted so much time building nothing, essentially. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like my main issue with it. I mean, like, you're going to have net deckers. You're going to have people that take metadata and use that to their advantage. It's just a fact of life, especially with the internet now. Like, humans are social and they like to collect information and use that information to critically tackle any situation, especially if it's like a GP. You know, people aren't going to want to brew with their shitty little Jace's Phantasm deck in Modern and then hope to take it to a GP and get first place. No, there's a reason why those net decks exist, and that's through constant practice and constant trials to figure out, you know, what's the best net deck. And
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit off on a tangent
No,
here, but
I wouldn't say. I think if we were to talk about NetDecks, we'd get into a whole thing because I think I could talk about NetDecks for like 30 minutes, just simply why either they're good or bad, the pros and the cons about NetDecks, because it's not all bad, but it's also not all good. If you think about it, there are still pros and cons. That's usually how it is with everything. But anyways, I want to get to our next question, if that's possible.
yeah,
I had a question. Is Pauper your favorite format?
Commander is, without a doubt. Pauper is a very close second. Commander, nothing beats Commander. To me, that's Magic the Gathering. That is the penultimate format for the game because, let's say theoretically 5 years from now, Magic's dead. Wizards of the Coast doesn't produce cards anymore. People aren't going to play Standard because there's no Standard. People aren't going to play Legacy because they're not going to want to buy a revised Underground Sea for $1,200 because it's going to be incredibly expensive by then. Or like just buying into these older cards because it's just harder to find because the company is out of production. That's where Commander comes in, because Commander is a singleton format, so it doesn't require you to invest so much in just one card. You don't have to buy the same copy 4 times. You just have to buy the same copy once. And it's very translatable. It's very easy to, like, okay, when you take someone who doesn't understand what Commander is, but they know how to play Magic the Gathering, and you just tell them, so this is the deck. You have a 99 card deck. You have one creature or planeswalker that allows that you can cast at any time, and you have more life, and you get to play with other people. I feel like that's a much better representation of the game Magic the Gathering as a whole over Pauper. Now, Pauper,
it's with 4 people, so
yeah,
it's very yeah, I agree.
There's that social aspect.
Another reason why I like drafting, though, drafting is personally one of my favorite formats. Next to Commander. I've never tried Pauper yet, though. So, but what were you gonna say though, Pauper? I was actually gonna ask you though, why did you start playing Pauper? But we'll ask you after that.
I'll get to that after this. But that kind of what I was saying about Commander kind of leads in what I was going to say about Pauper, and is that Pauper is very much another pure form of Magic the Gathering because it's an eternal format, which is something that people like to play, especially like Commander. But it's an eternal format like Legacy, but it's actually affordable. And that's what I really like about it. Like I view that to be a very pure form of like Legacy, because you don't have to invest so much money. You're not priced out by just very expensive decks and elitists. I mean, yeah, you're going to have your elitists and your net deckers in any format, but I feel like with Pauper, because so many more people have access to it, it's just a much friendlier environment, because you don't have these people who had to sit there and earn their way into their Legacy bug deck or whatever.
It's not like $10,000. It's
exactly. It's a shitty little $50 deck that you can just go have fun with. But
there's still like interesting, cool combos. I've been looking into trying to get into Pauper, so I've just been looking at MTG Goldfish and trying to see how the meta is shaping out and what kind of decks are.
What I would suggest,
it seems like it's such a big meta though that there's so many decks.
That's what I like about Pauper, is I like the randomness of it. I like the fact that any deck can be the best deck of the day, because that really helps with the whole net deck situation. Yeah. Because, like, good example, Affinity in Pauper is a natural predator to Delver in Pauper. So whenever Delver is very prevalent in the format, Affinity and Kuldotha Boros come out of nowhere and take it down. And then once those decks are on the top, then their predators will come over and take them down. It's like this cycle, and you get to see these new decks all the time because people are trying to innovate with all these new commons from the standard sets and from the downshifted downgrades. So you get like these new innovations in the Kodotha Boros deck where they included the Monarch cards from Conspiracy, which is something that people didn't think of before. And now on Magic the Gathering Online, those cards are super expensive because it turns out they're good in Pauper, but there's just not that high of a thing. The point I was getting at, huh?
How expensive are they?
Oh, I'll look that up right now, actually, because I'm kind of curious to see if they went down. So Thorn of the Black Rose is one of them. It's a black card from Conspiracy. Death Touch, 4 mana for a 1/3. When it ETBs, you become the Monarch, and that's it. But I'm looking up the price right now. Paper, it's 75 cents, and online, it's $8.65. So there's a large inflation. But that's just because Conspiracy wasn't available on Magic the Gathering Online like it was a paper set. So it's just a weird MTGO economy thing. But my point is that people can like find these weird, cool new interactions all the time in the format. And that's kind of like what really makes it my favorite, just because, or my second favorite, my favorite being Commander. But you said earlier that you were thinking about getting into Pauper. My suggestion would be, if the community around you isn't all that hyped about Pauper, I would suggest buying into an MTGO deck or maybe playing on like a third-party client.
Yeah, I usually play on tap.
Yeah, get a feel for the format first, because it's a lot like Legacy. If you like the gameplay of Legacy and you like the attrition style, like conserving your mana and trying to like think 3 to 4 turns ahead, then that's the format for you.
That sounds like interesting. I actually never played Legacy either, so Legacy sounds also too expensive for me. I just don't have the money to play Legacy probably ever.
But I started
too much money on cards already.
Right, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, how much more money do I really want to spend on cards?
Exactly.
And that's kind of why I like Pauper, because it's like, at least I don't have to make that large of an investment. But
yeah, when you probably have like multiple decks, you can just spend like $50 or whatever, no big deal, and have just multiple decks.
You asked me when I started playing. I started playing back in.
Why did you start playing? Either one. Oh, why? Yeah.
Because I had a Moto account, but I didn't really like have anything to play on. I got my Moto account back in like 2013, and I would play Gatecrash Standard because that was like one of my all-time favorite standards. I love RTR Theros. Innistrad, just that area was just like the best.
Innistrad was cool as fuck.
Yeah. And I came back to MTGO because I was like thinking, oh, maybe I should play Modern or something. And then I realized how expensive it was. And then I found out about Pauper and how it was like very popular on Magic the Gathering Online. So I kind of did that. I dipped my toes in it a little bit just to get a feel for it. And then once I realized how much I liked it, I then bought like 10 more decks. And I think I have like 30 or 40 different decks on Moto now. Because it's cheap. It's really cheap on Moto because your commons, you go to your LGS. You go to your LGS and you can buy a common for like 15, 25 cents. But on Magic Gathering Online, a lot of the cards are like pennies. Like
on
1 to 2 cents. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, when I say Moto. When I say Moto, it's the same thing as MTGO. Sorry. Moto stands for Magic Online Digital Objects.
Okay, I've heard people say Mitgo, so that's why I was a little bit confused.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's actually pretty cool. You have 30. Have you ever sold out? I thought you sold out on MTGO.
I sold out of my expensive cards because I didn't want to get burned out just in case I got banned. So I preemptively sold a lot of my Commander cards, but I kept a majority of my Pauper decks because they have ultimately no value. If I try to sell them back to a bot, I may get like $10 to $15 back. But if I lose that because Wizards bans me, oh no, like I don't really care. But,
okay, so how do you feel though about that? Pauper is getting more Pauper is getting more popular.
I like it. I like the fact that it's getting more popular. There are some side effects because
like becoming more competitive. That's probably one side effect.
No, the real side effect is for me is the format being priced out. I don't think that's something that we necessarily have to worry about right now, just because I feel like people are just kind of riding the wave, and some prices on cards are starting to go back down. But
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I like that more people are getting into it because more minds means more decks, and that's always a good thing. Um, but like at some point, when is your weird ass Battle Screech from Judgment, which is an uncommon but is a common on MTGO, that Battle Screech then, because Wizards of the Coast decided not to reprint that card, that uncommon from almost 20 years ago becomes a $30 card just because of Pauper.
That's crazy.
Obviously, these are the same issues with like Modern and Legacy, but this can be tempered off much easier because they're commons. So you don't have to come up with some bullshit excuse when Wizards of the Coast does their master sets and they're not that good and they're like, but it's for draft. You don't have to worry about that with commons.
Yeah. What is the most expensive common? I don't know.
Man, that's a really good question.
I know Delver's Secrets is like $10, is it?
No, that's like $1 card. It's like $1.70. I think
I had a foil one. That's why I had a foil one, and it was like $10.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be super expensive. But I'm trying to think exactly. The cards that are gonna be super expensive are the cards from like 15, 20 years ago. Like Moment of Peace is like a random fog with flashback that's like $3.50 just because it only has one printing. And that's what it is. It's a bunch of like little $3 to $7 cards. There's nothing that's like too incredibly expensive. So the format is still very affordable. And one of the main problems with Eternal formats is the lands, and you don't have to worry about that with Pauper, just because there are no fetches, there are no duels, there are no shocks. It's just basic lands, evolving wilds, and some shitty tapped dual lands.
Yeah, that's true. Because lands can be really expensive. Lands sometimes can be like half of your freaking deck.
Yeah,
pricing half of your deck.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. That's what I like about Pauper, because half the deck's price doesn't come from the lands.
Yeah. So I saw a couple of other people asking some questions talking about Brawl.
Oh yeah, man. I don't understand why people are so fucking negative about this format.
That's
I think
another thing that's where it comes in with the negativity that I was talking about, people complaining too much. And I think that it's new, it's something fresh, it's something cool. And I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Like people are still shitting on it. They haven't even seen the fucking set. We haven't even seen what cards are in there. We don't even know if they're maybe reprinting awesome cards in there. Like we don't even know, and people are still shitting on it. And it's just
right. I mean, you don't even need Dominaria. Technically, you can just try it out with the random cards that you have now, and just build a shitty like little Rashmi deck and just get your wheels greased up and figure out if you like the format or not. I think people are negative about this because they probably think it's like another scheme for Wizards of the Coast, like another revenue stream. Right. Because let's be honest, Standard is in a really bad spot, and it has been in one for about 2 years. And I've been thinking, like, is Brawl meant to not necessarily replace Standard, but to entice the players who left Standard to come back in, but to play Brawl? And I feel like that might be.
Here's the thing, though: if Dominaria is actually set up for Brawl to actually be good, then it's a possibility that Brawl could be good. Mm-hmm. Like I was saying, we haven't seen the entire set yet, so we can't know. And I was shitting on it before myself until I heard somebody came up to me and they said, "Why are you shitting it on so much? You haven't even seen the full set of Dominaria. You don't know what the cards are in there. Maybe there's some fun cards that you might enjoy as a commander or something along those lines. Give it a try. Maybe just play it, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it."
What I think is really funny is I think another reason why people are shitting on it so much is because we've been burned in the past with things like Frontier and Tiny Leaders. However, the difference between both of those and this is that Brawl was brought to light by Wizards. It wasn't a grassroots format. I mean, yeah, they said that it was grassroots in their fucking article, but that just reeked of bullshit entirely. But this is a Wizards of the Coast supported format, so that means that they're going to push for it on a regular level. So I think it will have at least a bit more stability and longevity than something like Tiny Leaders or Frontier would. I hope, but I don't know. That's where I think a lot of this negativity comes from, is because of just recent experiences, and people just don't want to buy into another format just to get burned out on it again, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I see. The thing is, I have the same exact issue because I'm negative, and I even made a negative video on Brawl, and I was pretty pissed off about it too. And I think I was more upset about the way that they kind of went about it, because their whole like shenanigans and marketing, and it's such bullshit, and they make up like a whole story like, oh, we were sitting down playing, we were playing Brawl and we had a bunch of people playing. Like, that's such bullshit. Like, come on,
that's such bullshit. Like, everyone's thought of Standard Commander. That's been a thought in like every, well, not every, but a lot of players' heads ever since Commander was a thing. Like, I don't understand where they're
saying that they're saying that they've been playing it like for the past like couple months or something. And like, I don't know. It sounds like a load of bullshit. I feel like they bullshit us too much, and they don't just get straight to the fucking point. And it would be interesting to see a specific product just for Brawl, and how like it not be actually part of Standard. Maybe, I don't know if that is a possibility. Well, and it still rotates out and still whatever. I don't know if that's a possibility, but it's possible that if they did something along those lines, that the more specific cards for Brawl would be interesting and would be able to make Brawl a better game than, because the cards that are being made right now are really made for specifically Standard, and that's Wizards of the Coast, baby. That's where they want to make all their money, which is also one of the reasons why they came out with Brawl, to make money, because Standard cards. And do I get shit on them for that though? I mean, listen, they have to make money, but I don't think it's going to be successful if Dominaria has nothing that really actually complements Brawl specifically, or and I haven't looked at all the Dominaria cards for my own reasons, because I'm pretty upset about the leak. I think that was complete bullshit as well.
I think the leak was intentional. I kind of like I like to entertain the conspiracy theory that it was intentional, just to get attention drawn to Magic the Gathering, because that was a very weird leak. When you look at the other leaks in the past, and then you look at this one in specific, and it was leaked technically from the inside, but it was across the country, and it was like, what, Chinese or something like that. Like, like that was not a mistake. That feels like it was planned out, in my opinion. I have no proof for this. I have no, I can't necessarily support that theory. But like, when you look at other leaks, like the Ixalan leak, for example, the foil cut sheet, that's more believable because it's someone who stole it from a printing press, because Magic the Gathering's been really lax on them printing cards lately. So it makes sense why Ixalan got spoiled the way it did. But if you go back all the way to 2011 with New Phyrexia, the entire set got spoiled by two Magic the Gathering writers who had access to a god book that had every single card with all images and everything, and it was so that they could write articles in advance, so that way when the set comes out, you know, that content is made. However, they got a little carried away and they started sharing it with friends, and then it ultimately backfired on them, and both of them got banned for a certain amount of time. But like, those are traditional leaks. Those are very traditional. This reeks of bullshit all the way through. And I feel like that, in combination with something like Brawl, really tells all of us as Magic the Gathering players that Wizards is really hurting right now.
They're really desperate.
Yeah.
They really are. They really are trying to scramble to get their hands on as much money as possible from us, cutting as many corners as possible, trying to do everything to get our attention. And I think that's like one of the things. Like, and also what was really strange about the leak was literally maybe 12, not even, I think it was a couple hours within the leak actually happening, they wrote a whole article saying, "Oh, blah blah blah, we're sorry." They actually, by the way, didn't even say fucking sorry in that whole entire article. I pointed that out in one of my videos, but it was just fucking retarded. They didn't show any remorse. They were just like, "Whoops," and yeah.
The second a
Come
company
enjoy it.
shows remorse or weakness is the second that they start being really taken advantage of. It makes sense why companies don't go out and apologize for their erroneous mistakes. It's just because everyone would just eat them alive at that point. Because it's kind of like that liability thing with card quality. I mean, it's no secret that the card quality is fucking garbage. But if Wizards of the Coast were to acknowledge it, there would be lawsuits coming from all directions. So it makes sense why they're like kind of being reserved about stuff like that, and they're not necessarily apologizing when they should be, because if they were to, then it could backfire on them significantly.
I still think that the issue, the card quality, needs to be brought up.
Yeah, it does.
I think that either way, like right now, they're losing more customers because of the card quality. People don't want to buy bent cards. I don't want to go buy a $10 pack of Masters 25 and have it being bent or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it might be reasonable to take the risk of making that announcement saying, we're going to try and fix shit to get their customers happier than if and then if there's lawsuits, and they'll figure it out. I think
the issue with that is that especially when you sell faulty product and you're aware of selling faulty product and you don't acknowledge it, you bring in federal level people like the Better Business Bureau, and they could I don't know if the Better Business Bureau has the power ultimately, but if something like that were to happen, and like, let's say it's a bit more drastic, let's say it's Johnson and
how faulty is it now? It's not that faulty. It's still
right. Sure it's somewhat rare. It is common, but it's not obscenely common. But like, let's take someone like Johnson and Johnson, for example. Like, they make baby powder. What if this baby powder, they changed some of the ingredients without letting people know, and all of a sudden babies and like people who use it just start having really bad skin reactions to it? Now, that's a bit of a drastic analogy to what's going on with Magic Gathering right now. But
cars, like if a car is faulty, I think they recently did that with a certain car that like the wheels were coming off or something, and they had to do a callback or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. So, it's really interesting. Like, what if they were to acknowledge it? Would they have to do a callback? Like, would they? Because if they were to acknowledge it, it's kind of like that YouTube thing that happened this past weekend past week where YouTube made a video saying, where they officially stated, yes, you may not get all of your subscriptions in your subscription feed or whatever. And people just went fucking apeshit about it. And I mean, understandably so. But like, if Wizards of the Coast were to try and handle it in this same situation, people would still kind of like throw them to the wolves. I don't know. Like, that's also because they've put this off for so long. If they were to acknowledge it much earlier, when people were beginning to pay attention, then I think they would have been able to handle it much better. But because it had gotten to this point,
it's gotten out of hand.
It's like, yeah, it's inexcusable at this point, really.
Yeah. So I think I have one more question, and then we can end if you'd like, because it's starting to get late.
Sure. I was about to say, don't you got to get to bed soon or something?
Yeah, it's 12, but
holy shit, it's only 9 o'clock.
Yeah, over here. But you should know by now. I always come to your streams and it's like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock here, and I'm in your stream, and for you it's only like 2.
Well, thanks for staying up so late with me.
No problem. I already stay up fucking late, but so I forgot there's a new product with the 2-headed giant. What's the name again of that product?
The 2-headed giant?
Yeah, I forgot its name.
Oh God, I know what you're.
I didn't write it down. I didn't write this question down, but I just thought of it.
I know what you're talking about, but to be honest, I don't care about 2-headed giant so much that I completely forgot that even existed until you brought it up. What's it supposed to be again? It's like, its name is similar to Brawl, isn't it?
That's why I was actually confused when I was talking about Brawl, I was talking actually about that set.
Yeah,
I freaking forgot what its name is.
I
But
forgot what it is too. But like, do you
let's see
think?
if somebody knows in the chat.
Yeah. Do you think?
Everybody bounced to Purple's chat probably.
Wow.
Yeah, because he started a live stream.
Damn it, Purple. Stealing all of our viewer equity. What an asshole. How dare you have a successful channel, Purple. Man, that guy's been doing really well. Holy shit. Like, it's kind of blown my mind, honestly, to see him grow. Sorry, I'm getting way off of topic. This
he has been. He's been really growing. So he's like at what, like 5,000 or something? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's really good. And he started his channel like less than a year ago?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Damn. Like, I mean, I was kind of critical of him in his early days, but I mean, like, in your early days, you're not going to have good videos. Like, it's just a fact of life. But seeing him now and seeing him present himself in the way that he presents himself now, I wouldn't be surprised if he were to become very, very popular. I wouldn't be surprised if he were to become one of the top MTG YouTubers.
I agree. He does present himself a lot better than he did before. Also, like he said a lot of controversial shit. He still does, but controversy always brings also viewers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but even still, he's one of those guys that just doesn't even give a shit.
I think that's like kind of why people like it. It's kind of like the alpha investments effect. When you bring in someone who's not too concerned with kissing Wizards of the Coast ass or trying to get the attention of Tolarian Community College and be in their favor, and you just start making content for yourself and for your audience, it really shows. It really does.
But what do you think about the format Two-Headed Giant and that set that's coming out?
I don't really care about Two-Headed Giant, to be honest. I've played it a few times. It's just not my format. It's not my thing. Mainly because I don't like having to work with other people in such a strategic game.
Okay.
Because when I'm playing Magic the Gathering, I'm very focused on like what I'm doing and what my opponent's doing. And now to introduce another person with their own mistakes and their own random draws, and then a fourth person on that side, and they kind of do the same thing. I mean, yeah, you can effectively do the same in a game of Commander where you can make it 2v2.
Yeah,
through politics, like through politics and stuff. But like, I don't know, just like I just don't really feel it like I would like something like a Commander game where you can be friends with someone and then you can stab them in the back.
Exactly. That's the best feeling. It's like, yeah, I only said I was gonna help you for last turn. I didn't say the next turn. Fuck you talking about? They get so pissed off. I love how people get really, really pissed off in Commander sometimes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it. I was talking with someone else.
Fucking format, and it's like they get pissed off. I'm like,
I was talking with someone else about that. This girl I was DMing on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, you should get into Commander," and she's like, "It's full of toxic people and like that kind of thing." And I was just like, "Well, that's kind of the issue that you have with casual formats in general, especially with something like Commander. You're going to bring in the most varied amount of players as possible, whether that means." You're going to be playing Commander with the smelly dude with the neck beard who's really fucking loud, or you play with a bunch of cool people. You know, that's just kind of the nature of EDH and Commander. And I kind of like that about Two-Headed Giant. I did play in one Two-Headed Giant pre-release.
That was cool because I got to play actually with my cousin. That was awesome. But yeah, I like Two-Headed Giant pre-release is pretty fun. Did you enjoy it? You didn't enjoy it?
I actually did. That was the one time where I actually enjoyed playing Two-Headed Giant was in a pre-release because I was playing with someone who was kind of not on the same level as me, but they understood that like, you know,
you don't go have to do too many things to be able to understand each other.
Right. It's easier to communicate with someone when you're playing with money on the line effectively.
Okay. Yeah. True.
Or sealed product, I mean.
Have you ever played Two-Headed Giant with like another friend or?
Yeah, I have. That's where I don't like it. I don't like playing with a friend. I'd rather play with someone who has the same end goal as me, essentially. I think it really depends on who you play with, though. I may have just had bad experiences in the past,
Okay.
but like if I were to find someone where I can like really be in tune with them in playing a game, I'm sure I would probably enjoy it much more.
All right, man. I think we're gonna end the stream though, but thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
was awesome. We should do this again. It was
Yeah,
chill.
yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. I really enjoy it. I like doing this kind of thing. It's really nice. It's really good to just like kind of get out of my own head as a content creator and just like chill out with other people. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
it is, man. Thank you. Thank you for coming by. We should I'll DM you after this.
Okay, yeah, for
We'll
sure.
talk. But have a good night, and everybody in the chat, thank you for coming by. Gallagher, who else? We got Durf MTG, Michael Carbazar, a bunch of people came in.
Yeah, thanks to everyone
Desolator,
showing up.
fucking Desolator. By the way,
Right,
I
he
didn't
might be
invite
in
him.
purple stream now.
I
Fucking okay. So he was commenting in there earlier. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about with Desolator, but since
Yeah,
he's
there's
not
no
here,
viewers here, so you could say it.
okay, there's no viewers.
There's like
I,
two.
there's a part of me that thinks he's trolling. Like ultimately, he's just kind of being an ass just for
Just
the
for
sake
show.
of it. Yeah, because like I don't know if you pay attention to what he was saying in the chat earlier, it just
Yeah, he was just messing.
yeah. So
You can
like
tell.
I have a hard time understanding whether or not he actually feels aggressive towards me, or if he's just doing it to save face, just to like keep up the Desolator character. I would like to imagine so, but I don't know.
All right. Everybody have a great night. You have a great night, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
coming by.
everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Peace, man.